Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we'll begin with Surah At-Takwir. We just completed Surah Abasa, where we saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describe the day of judgment with the word as-sakha. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ السَّاخَّةُ يَوْمَ يَتَذَكَّرُ الْإِنسَانُ مَا سَعَى. And we saw how humanity splits into two groups, the description of man on that day. Now, this surah, Surah Takwir, it begins with the description of events of what will happen around man on that day itself. So, description of events that lead to the day of judgment description of events that lead to the day of judgment, and then events that take place after. According to the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated by Ibn Umar, that is there in Tirmidhi, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man sarrahu ayyanzura ila yawm al-qiyamah." Whoever wishes to look ayyanzura ila yawm al-qiyamah, to the day of judgment, كأنه رأي عين, as if he is seeing it with his own eyes, yani as if he is seeing the events unfold in front of his own eyes. فليقرأ, then let him read إذا الشمس كورت, Surah Takwir, that is, وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ, Surah Infitar, وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ, and that is Surah Inshiqaq. The topic of discussion, therefore, in Surah Takwir, once again, is that of resurrection, and also belief in the prophethood of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, themes that we see commonly repeated in Juz' Amma anyways, or Makki surahs. Meccan period is replete with these themes. For 13 years, the work of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam revolved around establishing the truth of resurrection and the truth of his prophecy, his risala. Like in Surah Saba, ayah number 7, the disbelievers, they commented on the mission of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this manner. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, and those that disbelieved, they used to say, هَلْ نَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى رَجُلٍ, should we point you, نَدُلُّكُمْ دَلَّ يَدُلُّ نَدُلُّ, should we point you towards a man, يُنَبِّئُكُمْ, who informs you or tells you, نَبَّأَ يُنَبِّئُ, which group? Second group. Who informs you? What does he inform you? إِذَا مُزِّقْتُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ, when you are going to be torn into complete pieces. This is the concept of maf'ul mutlaq here. We have the noun and the verb form with the same root letter. Remember, we learned it's maf'ul mutlaq. What will happen? إِنَّكُمْ لَفِي خَلْقٍ جَدِيدٍ, you will then be given new life again. With regards to Qiyamah, there were three things that made it difficult for the disbelievers to bring their belief to it. After death, when the bodies have decomposed and they have become dust, how will they be brought back to life again in the same form? They simply didn't understand that. Second point, the whole universe, skies, mountains, rivers, everything will be destroyed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create another world. So after the destruction, the fact that Allah will create another world, that was hard for them to understand. Calamities happen, but how is it possible? The whole universe will be gone, smashed, crashed, right? Crushed. The sun and the moon and the stars, nothing will be there. Everything will cease to exist, and then everything will and then will be brought back to life. We simply don't understand that. The judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hell, heaven, and accountability. How is that going to happen? They could not wrap their heads around it. Their philosophy was, this dunya is everything. This Surah Takwir seeks to address that disease. And in the process, it presents an imagery where everything is thrown away, smashed or scattered. Before we start the surah, a quick glance at its composition. The surah, you can say, is divided into two parts, 1 to 13 and 14 to 28. In 1 to 13, between 1 and 6, we have the first stage of Qiyamah. These are the events that take place before the Day of Judgment, or that lead to Day of Judgment. And then 7 to 13, these are the events that take place after the Day of Judgment has occurred. And then we have the second part of the surah, which it starts off with emphasizing the sanctity of the message itself. itself, Quran, which the disbelievers rejected, and then it refutes their accusation against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. In the surah we see that they called him na'udhu billah majnoon, and the surah refutes that, and also concludes with the reminder that it is up to every individual to choose whether to follow the right path or not, whether to be on Surat al-Mustaqim or not. That is the individual's choice. The opportunity to find guidance is there for every single person in humanity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made that possible for every single being in creation. So with that, inshallah, in the next recording, we will begin with the surah itself. This was the introduction. So until I see you again, subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, adada khalqihi, wa rida nafsihi, wa zinata arshihi, wa midada kalimatihi. See you soon. Assalamu alaikum.